morning, good afternoon, good evening, depending on which part of the world you have joined in today. Hi, everyone. We are welcome. We are back again. And this is our season 4, our opening event of the year 2023. And we are discussing a very, very interesting topic. And it's a topic that we always discuss in the beginning of the year. What is in and what is out for project management in 2023. I am Priya Patra, and I am the Vice President Outreach of the PMI Mumbai chapter, and I am your host for the event today. We also do have a couple of more chapter leaders with me who are our co-hosts and who are working behind the scenes to make this event a successful event. Please welcome Damike, our chapter leader from Sri Lanka chapter.
Everyone, I'm Damika Mendes. I'm from PMI Sri Lanka chapter. I'm the Executive Vice President of Sri Lanka chapter and team member of PMI Chapter Xchange.
Yeah, and a very active team member. We also have from far north, Greg Dubois from PMI Alaska chapter.
Good morning. It's about 5 a.m. here in Alaska. I'm the Vice President of Outreach for the Alaska chapter. It's exciting to be here for another year of the Xchange. Welcome.
Thank you, Greg, and definitely a very, very exciting morning for you, early morning. We have Robert from PMI Zimbabwe chapter.
Good day, everybody, and welcome to 2023. My name is Robert Teruana, and I'm the Vice President for Professional Development based in Harare, Zimbabwe. Thank you.
Is it mid-afternoon in Zimbabwe, Robert?
Yes, it's mid-afternoon, yeah, and we are in the midst of the rain season.
Oh, wow. And we have Priscilla from PMI Sao Paulo, Brazil chapter.
Hello, everybody. I'm Priscilla from PMI Sao Paulo chapter. I'm a governance council member. So, hello, everyone.
Hey, Priscilla. And she is our newest member of the team. Welcome, Priscilla. And we have Anita, our chapter leader from Poland chapter.
Hello, everyone. My name is Aneta Wereszczak. I'm responsible for membership in PMI Poland chapter. So welcome from Wrocław in Poland. Welcome to PMI Chapter Xchange Season 4, Event 1. And as Priya mentioned, today we discuss what's in and what's out project management in 2023. And today we have our PMI friends joining us from 23 different PMI chapters from across the globe, North America, Latin America, Europe, Africa, and Asia, plus many, many more supporting chapters from the globe. So please say hello to each other and continue networking while we get started. Today, we are excited to announce that we have 1,600 plus registrations from across the globe. To be precise, 1,631. That's the number from the very last minute. 69 countries from Alaska to New Zealand and all countries and continents in between. So thank you everyone for this warm response to this initiative. And let us know where you're joining from. You can do that by going to menti.com and pasting this number, and please let us know where you are joining from. And this meeting is being recorded, so if you are uncomfortable in any ways, you may choose not to attend, else you are welcome to continue. And everyone here in this event are speaking on our individual capacity. Our views do not represent our organization's views in any ways. And now, without any further ado, let's put our hands together to meet our guest speaker of the day, Dr. Srinivasan, a Regional Managing Director for Region 11. And let me also share with you the impressive bio of our guest. So Dr. Srini has over 30 years of global professional experience as a CEO, senior management consultant, and entrepreneur in India, Asia, and the United States. India CEO and senior US partner of 3 global management consultancies, where he was a trusted advisor to CXOs across multiple industry sectors. Interim CEO of engineering services company, had a hand in 5 successful startups in areas as diverse as biomedical technology, consulting services, outsourcing, and knowledge management. Dr. Srini has managed complex multi-geography, multi-enterprise transformation projects. So very warm welcome to Dr. Srini. Welcome to our event.
Dr. Srini, we can't hear you. You're on mute.
Sorry. Anita, thank you so much. I don't recognize the person that you're describing. Perhaps you're confusing me for somebody else, but thank you anyway. Hello, everyone. I bring greetings to all of you from the PMI Global team and especially from the PMI South Asia regional team. It is an honor for me to be part of this event. I was fortunate enough to be part of the original event, Season 1, Episode 1, and now already we're in Season 4, Episode 1. And in case any of you are wondering whether it is possible for chapters and volunteers across the globe to be able to collaborate seamlessly for the betterment of the project management community as a whole, worry no more, because the answer is right in front of you. This event, Chapter Exchange, is proof positive that it is very, very possible, not just possible, but it is enormously doable to be able to bring, I think, Anita, you pointed out that there were 23 chapters, over 20 countries. Today, over 1,600 participants, representing 69 countries, I think. Even the United Nations in New York can do this. So I think you need to stop worrying about this and enjoy this event, because you are part of the solution. You are part of the answer. And you've not only come together to discuss very important topics like today, what's in, what's out. In the past, you've discussed very thought-provoking topics like robotics process automation in project management, the Great Resignation, and so on. But more than that, I don't know if you realize it, you are living and breathing the PMI talent triangle in what you're doing in this event with Chapter Exchange, because you're demonstrating business acumen, you're demonstrating power skills, and you're demonstrating the whole ability to be agile in pulling these kind of global events together. So I congratulate you. I welcome you very warmly, and I would like you to enjoy this session and continue to enjoy many more sessions to come in the future. I don't know what's in yet. I don't have the answer yet, but I know what's out. I'm out. So thank you very much for having me, and Godspeed.
Thank you, Dr. Srini. You are definitely not out. You are one of our charismatic, inspiring leaders, and you really said very well. We are definitely living the talent triangle, and that's possible only because of this big, diverse team that we have who are working. Um, I will say following the sun, and these are our team members. If you can see on the screen, these are all those 23 chapters plus a few supporting chapters who are part of this initiative today. And we stole this from Sunil Prasada, our ex-CEO, PMI ex-CEO, saying one team, one song, and one dance. Now more about our team members. We would like to put spotlight on Pedro Banco for his outstanding contributions as the Chapter Exchange liaison. So Chapter Exchange liaison is a very, very critical role in this initiative. He is the bridge between the chapter and the program. And Pedro has been with us for the last 2 years, since 2021. And he is the person, we have never seen him on this event, that's for sure. On the panel, he's never there because he's busy working behind the scenes, doing a lot of data analytics, looking at the data, why registrations are not coming in, why attendance are low, how can we improve our, attendance to registration to attendance ratio, and bringing in all that analytics so that we can have a superlative experience. Pedro is moving out of the chapter leadership role, and hence let us all applaud the outstanding contributions that he has made to this program. So big round of applause to you, Pedro, and pat on the back, virtual pat on the back for you. I would say, Pedro, you have made a difference. And now over to you, Pedro, to say a few words about your experience and working with us.
Priya, thank you. I've been participating in the Xchange group for 2 years. It has been a great experience to work with this amazing and energetic team. I could develop my data analytical skills on the country data of every event. Congratulations, Priya and the team, for the continued success of the monthly Xchange events. We have analyzed thoroughly the country contributions, and it has been very successful in our discussions. Priscilla Vendramini do succeed me. Thank you, Priya.
So hi, Priscilla, welcome to the team. Would you like to say hi to everyone before we move on?
Priya. Thank you, Pedro, for your dedication and efforts. I'm so happy to join this incredible initiative and also very honored to be a part of this amazing team. A great event for all of us. Thank you.
Okay, good. You like us? Thank God. Otherwise, yeah. All right. So that's good for us. Thank you, Priscilla. And before we move on, I'll share my screen again and talk about the exchange effect. And you must be wondering, how do we make this happen again and again and again? So we don't want to keep the secrets to ourselves. And we've kind of documented our experience in this book. And the authors are there. You can see the 6 co-authors, and Damike, Anita is already there on this call today. They've done an amazing job in putting all our learnings together. So do reach out to us if you want to know more about the book, about our experience. If you want our chapters to join our initiative, please do drop us a note. And of course, you can always read our book. And this book was, of course, written with a lot of, support from our regional team. Dr. Srini, he himself gave us this idea, and it's also supported us in getting this published. So thank you everyone for this, Dr. Srini, for this support. And with this, I will move on to welcome the spotlight chapter of the month, which is PMI Turkiye chapter. And I will invite Gaye Onay to come and talk about her country, the chapter, and take it away. So over to you, Damike.
Thanks, Priya. So today our spotlight chapter is PMI Turkiye chapter. So this is the spotlight chapter of the month. And also on behalf of the PMI Chapter Exchange community, we would like to express our sympathy for those affected by the major natural disaster in the Turkey. So Gaye, PM Turkey chapter, and to introduce us for her chapter and the country. So let me introduce Gaye, President of PMI Turkey chapter. With more than 20 years of project management experience in telecommunications and IT industry, designed and performed training and workshops on the subject of principles of project management, IT project and demand management for the employees of Turkcell and Turkcell group companies with 300 plus employees. So before I hand over the stage to you, Gaye, I have two questions for you. First one is, what is the time they are now at your site and the date? And my second question is, what does the logo of your chapter signify? Over to you, Gaye.
Thank you, Damike. Hello, everyone. Good morning, good evening, good afternoon. Hello from Turkey in Istanbul. And first question of Damike, it is 16 past 5 and today is 17 February. And your last question is our logo, I think. Please share screen, my slide. I will explain my logo.
Yeah.
And second, thank you. As you can, in the middle of the slides, you can see the Bosphorus Bridge, which connects Europe to Asia. This bridge represents our logo as it signifies connection. Although the government changed the name to July 15 Martyrs Bridge, the old name is still used by the majority of people in Turkey. If I made this presentation 15 days ago, I would have told you about beautiful places in my country, some of which you can see. But unfortunately, as you may already know, two massive earthquakes hit and affected town cities in Turkey and also Syria. Today, more than 38,000 people have lost their lives so far, and millions of people have been left homeless. We are deeply saddened by this tragic disaster. All our hearts and prayers go to families who lost their loved ones. The PMI community, as a big family, as well as some chapters, have been sending support to us since day one. I would like to thank you for standing in solidarity with Turkey. We can still use all the support we can get to help thousands of people who are suffering. And Priya will share some reliable links in the chat box where you can make donations. I would appreciate it if you could share these links with your communities as well. And today's, as you know, spotlight chapter of the month is PMI Turkey chapter, and I have a short time. I will go on to talk about my chapter. I have been working as a volunteer for 6 years in my chapter. Our chapter was established 2007, and we celebrated 15th anniversary last year. We have 900 members and 150 volunteers. Our members work different industries, including telecommunication, banking, construction, defense industry, finance, energy, and so on. Our board is made up of 6 members. 4 of them are women. we have several projects, programs, and activities for our community. We have also certification facilitation groups, including PMP, Disciplined Agile, Business Analyst, CAPM, and so on. Our members who want to prepare for certification exam can join these groups. Every year we organize PM summits and International Project Management Day, and this year our summit will be held in October. Every month we organize professional development activities where we invite a speaker on project management. We translated PMBOK 7 in Turkish last year. Also, we have a new project this year. We will translate process guides book in Turkish. Our organization has projects and program managers working on citizen development, women in project, CP certificate, and disciplined agile, working with the global and local teams. Also, we have mentoring program where 100 mentors and 100 mentors are peer now. We also this year we plan to increase the number of 250. In our organization, there is a PMI Youth and Social Impact Director. She and her team are working with the other chapters to achieve beneficial projects and trainings for children. This program is very important for us, especially for children. Also, we publish a project magazine quarterly, and the last, I can say we have corporate membership program, which have 9 companies. In the end, I would like to thank each and every one of you for attending this event. It's a great honor to be part of the PMI Global family. We are strong together. Now I am leaving the stage to Damleke. Thank you for everything.
Thanks, Guy. So now let me introduce you to our session moderator, Oliver. So a bit about Oliver. Oliver is the former board member and highly experienced digital transformation expert with more than 20 years of change management and involvement at corporate level in all aspects of project management, from conception to implementation, fulfilling both simple and complex stakeholders' quality requirements. In addition, this is coupled by more than 6 years IT lecturing experience and advising college boards on digital transformation, well as all ICT related issues. He served on the boards of trustees, Zimbabwe electricity industry, pension responsible for growing and protecting the funds by making both short and long-term decisions concerning investment on the money markets and capital projects. Also, he served as a member of the Finance, Investment and Procurement Committee, which advised the main board of all financial investments and procurement issues on a regular basis. So, Oliver, over to you to introduce the speakers and take the moderation forward.
Thank you very much for that lovely introduction. I would like to welcome.
I'm not sure if that's only me, but I cannot hear Olivier.
No, we can't hear you. Are you on mute, Oliver? Oliver, we can't hear you.
It sounded as you have been far away from the microphone, or maybe you do have a headset on.
And maybe, okay, maybe just, if you could just give me a minute, I could just put on my headset on.
Okay, so while Oliver gets his headset on, We do have a poll question for you, and I will put the poll question on, and I'll put the coordinates for the poll on the chat window. So please take the poll and let us know what you think about this question, right? And this says, should project managers adopt the generative AI like the chat GPT as their new tool set? While Oliver fixes his headset and his audio. Okay, so we are getting some answers, Oliver, and we just got one person taking the poll as of now. And I know that there are like 500 folks on this call, more than. Okay. Some people say only one person is saying no. Okay, yeah, you're putting on the chat. Why don't you take the poll and let us know? People are answering on the chat, yes or no. And we will give a few more minutes, few more seconds. Okay, content is blocked. Let me close all the windows. Okay, Oliver, are you back? Can you say something while we have the audience take the poll? You're still on mute?
You're on mute.
Hello, can you hear me now?
Yes, there you go. Yeah. All right.
Okay.
So, Oliver, I took this opportunity to take the stage and post the poll question for our audience. Because ChatGPT is so much in the news nowadays. So we thought we will ask our project managers who are on the call today whether they would like to adapt generative AIs like the ChatGPT in their toolset. Okay. Okay, Oliver, while people take the poll, you may, start with your moderation.
Okay, thank you very much, Priya. As I was saying, we basically our topic for discussion today is what's in and what's out of project management in 2023. As you saw from that quick survey, it appears like there are tools that we are supposed to then embrace in 2023, and ChatGPT is just one of them. Having said that, the discussion is going to be based basically on the new tools that we're supposed to be embracing during the period of the year that we've just entered in. And also, we are coming from a backdrop of COVID. We are saying that after the COVID pandemic, what is changed in the project management landscape, and we are also looking at complex projects. How are we going to be tackling complex projects, as well as looming recession? We just my condolences, and I would like to express my solidarity to the Turkish PMI leader who is with us within the audience today. And we're also going to be talking about looming recession, and we're also going to be talking about cost pressures. Having said that, that basically forms the area in which we are going to be discussing today. And these are the challenges that project managers, these are the challenges that are being faced by project practitioners globally. So I'll also, before we discuss the topic at hand, I want to introduce my panelists from all across the continents. All continents are represented here. I would like to start by the panelists introducing themselves. If I could have, I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to pronounce this one. I've been trying to do so for the past 3 or 4 hours. I'll try to pronounce it. Pizekmike Kateki from Europe. If you could briefly give us your brief your background?
Absolutely, Oliver. Thank you so much. So you're very close. It's Przemek. This is as Slavic name as you can get. So hi, hello, everyone. Pleasure to be here. I'm currently based in Poland, in beautiful city of Gdańsk. I do have international experience living and working in Dubai as well. I saw a few people joining from UAE. Hi, hello. Currently I work in one of the largest e-commerce marketplaces in the world and biggest of European origin, that's Allegro. I'm responsible for some transformative projects around there and this area. And then for all, I think around 20 years, I've been connected with the PMI Poland chapter and had various roles there. So hi, hello, and thank you for being here.
Thank you very much. That was a very brief and concise introduction. Next, I would like to move to America. Mr. Clovis, if you could introduce yourself to the panel, to the audience.
Thank you a lot for invitation. I'm Clovis Bergamo. I'm CEO and founder of the Six Sigma Brazil. Six Sigma Brazil is a long partner with PMI and Brazil, and I am responsible to try to explain the market, the process and project is working together. And I have a long experience in a company, a Xerox company, around 20 years. After that, I founded the Six Sigma Brazil. I had the opportunity to launch 3 books in the market. The name in Português é Evolução Silenciosa na Gestão das Empresas com Six Sigma. Another, Ruptura do Modelo Tradicional das Empresas. Other book is Modelo Híbrido. It's application of Lean Six Sigma, Agile, and designing things together. And this book had a English version Híbrido model. Thank you a lot for invitation to sharing some ideas. I understand it's very important that everybody to connect because different areas, different countries have some different problems, but sometimes have the same situation, and everybody working together it to grow in the best direction for everybody in the world. Thank you a lot.
Thank you very much, Clovis. It appears you are a very renowned author, and you've published quite a number of books and articles, and I'm sure we're going to review some of the books or the technologies that you've explained in one of those books that you've published. And then next person that I'll like the viewers to be introduced to will be Kyron Bondell from Canada.
Thank you, Oliver. It's so Kieran Mondale. I'm a trainer, speaker, and writer. I've got about 25 years of experience working in the project management domain, started in technology, working with both predictive and adaptive life cycles and approaches. I served for 6 years on the board of the PMI Lakeshore chapter. I'm based in Welland, Ontario, which is very close to Niagara Falls. I published a book on project leadership in early 2021, which was titled Easy in Theory, Difficult in Practice. The name comes from my blog, which has been running since 2009, focusing on project leadership and delivery challenges. I've contributed to multiple PMI standards over the past 2 decades, the last 3 versions of the PMBOK guide, the risk management standard, and many others. And I am one of the volunteer community moderators for PMI's LinkedIn project program and portfolio management discussion group. Thanks, Oliver.
Thank you, Kiran, for that wonderful introduction and a superb book that you wrote, Easy Theory and Difficult in Practice. Definitely will be unpacking some of the things that you wrote in that book. during this discussion. It's also going to help us a lot in look at ways in which we can tackle project management challenges during the 2023 year. Lastly, but not least, from Asia, I would like to introduce to the audience Prabhu Rao. Thank you, Prabhu.
Thank you, Oliver. Oh, so this is Prabhu Raut. I'm from India, a city called Pune, and I'm currently the head of program management at Vision India, which is in the center of mobility. They are basically a company which defining the future of the mobility. I have more than 2 decades of experience in manufacturing operation and program management domain, and I had worked before this to world-renowned multinational companies like Cummins, Eaton, as my past experience. And I'm also associated with the Toastmasters fraternity, and I was one of the distinguished person who has opportunity to found a club and run, and I was the past president of that club. And I'm a people connector. I'm all over the internet through LinkedIn. I have more than 20,000 followers, and getting connected for this PMI session is a great opportunity. And thanks Priya and team for inviting me for this session. Thank you.
There we are. We all have. We now know all our panelists, and we can now, without further ado, dive into the question of the day, or rather the question for discussion today. The topic basically is what's in and what's out of project management in 2023. I would like Kiran to break the ice for us there. Thank you.
Thank you, Oliver, putting me on the spot to go first. So in terms of what's in, I would definitely say that AI technologies, ChatGPT, is something where project managers, even though they may not choose to use it right away for production purposes, should start to become familiar with it, because that technology, those types of capabilities are going to evolve very, very quickly over the next few years. And if you don't start to experiment, run small experiments, you're going to be left behind. So I think there's some good opportunities in that arena. I think what's out is what we're all hoping is out, which is the focus on virtual project management. I mean, over the last 2.5, 3 years of the pandemic, that was the major topic. How do we make virtual project management work? I think we figured it out. The companies and the teams that were struggling with it have figured it out. The ones that haven't failed and have moved on to other things. I think now we're looking more at hybrid workplaces. I think we can shift away from continuing to talk about managing in a virtual world.
Okay, interesting views, Kiran there. I don't know from the other panelists, any additions or any different views to what Kiran has expressed. Obviously, I'll pick from Europe, I'll pick
Sure.
Zimek.
Thanks, Olivier and Kiran. I think you're spot on the rise of AI, and that we definitely should be getting more into it. And I loved how you said that we should start practicing and getting to know the technology, because it will evolve. Of course, it's not ideal right now. No, cannot be used everywhere, right? But I'll piggyback on that, and I'll add on top of that something that is not that often seen around the world of project management is the intellectual property, right? So as you use more and more automatic systems and harvesting the data from around the, be it company or outside of the company, right? You need to, on one side, be very careful what you're putting into the systems and whether it's proprietary data or not, and how to use that. And on the other side, if you're using the external sources, right, the annotations and the intellectual property, can it be used? How can it be used? And so on, right? So it's very interlinked and connected with the AI part. So I would say it's also more in than before, because we're fast tracking using of the large sums of data. And on the other side, on what's out, I'm not sure if the virtual events are that much out. I think it will be a mix, so we can have discussion here. I'm a big proponent of being able to do things remotely and virtually. Having said that, of course, jumping in on the physical calls and meetings and running some projects as well if needed. My take on being out is that the attention span is even less than before. So it's constantly being reduced. And with the attention span being out even more, you need to use less words and more visuals or more data to actually be able to convince people, to show the progress, to be able to achieve your goals, be it with the negotiations, communication with your team or other stakeholders. So that's definitely something that you need to look for. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much for that contribution. You raised an important point there of intellectual property. But however, I just want, before we go any further, we don't want to lose our audience here. We need clarity on what are we talking about when we say AI. And also, if Prabhu could give us just a basic definition of what is AI, and then thereafter, you also then go into explaining the issue of intellectual property that Pizek mentioned earlier on. Thank you, Prabhu.
Yeah, AI again, this artificial intelligence in order to chat GPT is one of the examples where you can ask questions and you will get data all processed, analyzed, and for your real use. So this is basically a conventional AI model which has any technology has potential to disrupt the whole ecosystem. But how you use those ecosystem and how whether you are going to use it as a your ad or you are going to use this as a distractor that is going to help you a lot. And AI is coming, but at the same time, the important thing is this AI is giving you data based on whatever it has been taught on based on the deep learning techniques. So whatever the data that is coming out of that, if we use our intelligence, our experience, and everything, then you will be able to make it a proper way in project management. So your due diligence and proper understanding of things is very important in order to get this AI data, AI to help you to improve in the project management domain. That's what, Oliver.
Okay, thank you very much. You mentioned there is due diligence that we is supposed to take into consideration before we adopt to this new technology. If Clovis, if you could also tell us about what exactly should we be looking at before we fully take on board this new technology that is the buzzword today, because if you go on social media, if you go on any site, they are just talking of artificial intelligence, and also take into account that we have an organization that calls itself Open Generative that has said, okay, this is the technology is now available for use out there. So what are the measures that we should, what caution should we actually take into consideration before we actually use this technology as our tool as project managers? Clovis, if you could help us here.
I understand you have some steps, the information, and after the everybody have the available information in the internet, and the second step, it's a consolidation of information like AI tools, but the analysis about the information, we need the project manager need to do that, because we sometimes some people explain the AI, if you have a AI is not necessary the professional, because AI solve all the problem. I, I I don't agree with it. that situation, because we need to some different environments, and the project management we need to analyze. And if the project manager have more information to 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 decision for the following the deployment the project, it's very nice. I understand the technology we need everybody to need to use, like a chat GPT, you some information like Watson, like some AI tools or another information. But the project manager is responsible to analyze and working in the situation with stakeholders involved the project. The AI is not have capability to involve the all stakeholders involved the project. And I understand when you have a new feature or new technology to help us to deliver it, the project is very nice. And I understand the main barrier of the process of project management. It's not it, we need to understanding the bottom line. We need to achieve the business results. It's very important to working around the methodology, using the methodology. But the C-level have a lot of importance, a lot of understanding if you deliver the business results. And the project manager need to understand it's a professional responsible to business transformation in all the world, all the companies. It's like my understand about your question. Thank you, Oliver.
Okay, thank you very much, Clovis. If I understood you, in summary, you are simply saying adoption of this technology is not necessarily uh, something that we can just take without really assessing the risks involved, isn't it?
Yes, I understand it's like a feature you have a support the project management. I understand it's not necessary you I need to use that, I need to do this technology only to support if you have available to use these tools.
Okay, thank you very much for that. If I'm to get this conversation going, you mentioned something very interesting here. You mentioned methodology. Definitely, as project managers, we need to employ different methodologies when we look at our projects, try to resolve the projects that we have. I would like to find out which methodologies can we say these are the ones that we can be using in as far as in relation to the topic that we are talking about, what's in and what's out of project management in 2023. So the question basically will be what project management methodology can we be adopting, or should we be adopting to resolve the challenges that I alluded earlier on during my introductory remarks? And I would like to throw this question to Chiron.
Oliver. So this is actually a topic that's sort of near and dear to my heart. Having worked extensively in predictive, adaptive, and hybrid approaches, the one lesson I think we all need to learn as project managers is that context counts. I think one of the best decisions PMI made back in in 2019 was to acquire Disciplined Agile. And one of the core tenets of discipline agile is if you don't understand the context you're facing, then whatever practices, tools, roles, techniques, methodologies you employ are likely going to are not going to hit the mark. So the key is understand the context we're in, profile the project, the culture of the organization, the constraints that we're facing, and then pick the approach that works the best in that circumstance, recognizing that it's a starting point and we will need to evolve it as we go and as we mature as a team. So it's not going to be perfect to begin with, but let's find a starting point and go from there versus trying to take a one-size-fits-all approach. So if we have a project that is simple, that is something we've done very frequently in the past, that lends itself to a predictive approach, use a predictive approach. On the other hand, if we have a project where we're facing a large amount of volatility, uncertainty, complexity, ambiguity, we need to start to move more towards an adaptive type approach. Run small experiments, get your risks tackled early on, and cut your losses if you find out you're not going to get the benefits you were looking for.
Thank you, Karen. I think I do agree with you there. And if I'm to again pose this question and say, we've been talking of AI technology and specifically referring to ChatGPT. And isn't this a product of agile development?
Oh, absolutely.
Because remember, this technology, it has been refined. And if I may probably given an overview of this technology to the audience, about 1,000 people were given this technology and made comments on it before it was finally released to the public so that they could iron out certain problems with this technology. And afterwards, they then said, okay, let's then give it out to the public for use, and then we'll probably start from there. Doesn't that really resonate with what you were saying earlier on?
Absolutely. I mean, I think we're looking at a disruptive technology, large degree of conceptual nature to it. There isn't a clear understanding of what the end state looks like or how we get to the end state. So the only responsible approach to take is to run small experiments, have tight, short feedback loops based on actual user input. And that's what we're seeing with ChatGPT. I'm sure 6 months from now, many of the very basic problems that people are pointing out with it today are going to have got addressed. So I would say ChatGPT is sort of the poster child for an adaptive approach, no question.
Okay, thank you very much for that. And if I could come to Clovis, how would you look at this issue from your perspective? Because you mentioned methodology in your response earlier on. This is just a follow-up. Which methodologies can you recommend to us or to the audience?
Thank you, Oliver, for your question. I understand we have a clear view about the methodology deliverables. One example, the Lean Six Sigma, we have capability to understand how we need to change, how we need to increase the process. The design thinking, you have tools or some items to how the way to increase the innovation, and agile and project management, how the way to run the project. And sometimes, according everybody explained here, we need some project is lower complexity. Maybe you need to have a possibility to run this project using only the agile project process methodology. Sorry, and if you have a implementation, you have more complexity. Sometimes you need project management methodology, but I think we need to working and to together our methodology. The PMI, it's run in this direction. A long time ago, the quality assurance it's and the PMBOK, it's very shortly after we PMI increased a lot of items of the Six Sigma and the Lean in this model. And today the version 6 per version 7, the version 7 of PMBOK, we PMI increased some items of agile methodology. I understand this methodology, it's like a business language. If you have a professional, have a capability to understand this methodology, you reduce or you achieve around the 40% in business results. It's my understanding. We need open mind, and we need to understanding all different methodology, and it's my understanding for your question. Thank you, Oliver.
Thank you, Clovis, for that. You bring in important aspects in as far as the PMBOK guide is concerned. I'm sure I started knowing much about project management, reading the 5th edition, and now we are using the 7th edition. And from 5th to the 7th edition, there's been quite a number of changes, and that is the reflective of what is taking place out there in as far as project management is concerned. And I'm sure PMI responded accordingly and added the methodologies that you alluded to. Thank you very much for bringing that up. And continuing with this conversation, I also want to hear what Pradu has got to say about Agile, as well as any other methodology that he might want to probably discuss. And obviously, I would like Prabhu to align his response to our topic of the day, which is what's in and what's out of project management in 2023. Prabhu, your turn.
Yeah, yes. Yeah, you're expecting me to once again iterate on what is in and what is out for project management, or the follow-up question of hybrid?
Yes, what I'm basically saying to you is we talked about project management methodologies, and this is just a follow-up question for you to elaborate more on that, but you then restrict, or I'm just trying to say your answer should align to what we are talking about today.
Yeah, so basically, this hybrid is going to with the part, okay. As already Kiran mentioned, for small things, you need to approach this agile can be done for where the predictive, you long-term things you want to achieve. For the smaller, where the results and everything is established, you need to use this waterfall methodology and everything to find the results. Okay, so a combination of these two and everything, everything does not fit to all size, right? So based on the project, what is coming, so I'm completely aligned with the already what Clovis has said. Okay. And at the same time, from what in and what out, if I have to just say a few words about this, during managing all this, basically use of power skills is something which we are expecting in this 2023 to be the prominent one, because before, the era can be divided into two parts. One is pre-COVID and post-COVID. After the post-COVID, there is more, as the people had started working with the fully remote teams. So understanding the emotionally intelligent people, the leader needs to be really emotionally intelligent in order to manage all these artificial intelligence people. So this is something what I feel is that use of power skills that is going to be in. And then hierarchical model of operating earlier, where the power and everything mechanism is being used and people needs to be at a place co-located, and then the project will move. That is going to be a thing of past. So just to wrap up, that power skill is going to be in the part of 2023, and the siloed department like structures is going to be a thing of past.
Thank you, Pradu, for your contribution. You mentioned something that obviously will be of further discussion, that is user power, and I take it to mean you are referring to stakeholders. Are we on the same page there, or?
Yes, Oliver?
Yes, I said thank you very much for your contribution, and you mentioned power user power, and I just wanted you to confirm if you were referring to stakeholders there.
No, user power skills, I mean to say like critical thinking, right? Emotional intelligence, empathy. These are the power skills. What when the PMI triangles says, when Dr. Sini was initially referring us, along with the business acumen, there should be a power skills. So the power skills needs to be used. Without that, because at the day end, project management nothing but managing people, and through people centric, you get the results, right? So if you don't have those power skills, how to motivate people, how to manage or emotionally understand the people and get the things done, those power skills, if it is not there, it's very difficult. So that is going to be something in 2023 is more needed now these days, because people are not located at the same place, at the different location, and they are, after COVID, they are facing a different type of mental or say there's a connectivity issue and everything. Physically we are not connected right now, we are connected through virtual world, so there more empathy and everything is required. That's where the pure power skills needs to be used.
Okay, thank you very much for that clarification. And with that clarification in mind, I would like to ask Pismek from Europe about teams. What do you think we should be doing in terms of organizing teams? Once a while, we find ourselves in a team trying to work in a project, and also once a while you find yourself as the team leader. So if you could elaborate and tell us, how would you then try to motivate and keep your team together, considering the challenges that we have talked about, and also trying to make to ensure that you are going to meet the goals of the project that you'll be working on?
Thanks for the question, Olivier. So this is a huge topic, right? But then it comes down, in my opinion, to saying that all in all, nothing's new under the sun. So if we want to work with the teams, exactly the things that that Prabhu mentioned with the power skills of motivation, of getting people together, of sorting their issues out, of looking at their mental health, maybe as one of the things on the rise, right, on their welfare. Those are the things that you should have been doing before and you should be doing now. Those are not really the things there. Now the interesting part probably with the fast-pacing world, when a lot of changes are happening, right? We're saying that the teams may be changing a lot over the period of project, right? So you're having the project and you may have a lot of changes within the team. So you need to be extra careful to address any challenges that you may have within those teams, on building, on this team building, right? Like looking at these basic elements of the phases of growth of the team that change constantly, right? Looking for the conflict resolution skill set that you'll be needing even more, because again, right, complexity and fast pace of the world will bring more of those challenges on the daily basis, right? Now, in ideal scenario, a lot of people would be saying we're aiming for the self-organizing teams, right? Servant leaders that support those self-organizing teams. And that's the overachieving goal in the number of teams and groups that you want to do. But what you need to be aware of is that not everyone joining your team may be on their maturity level high enough to be able to right away jump into the self-organizing team. And then your role as the leader is to help the team embrace that person or those people, and at the same time guide them and be their mentor or the coach to get there. So on top of everything, and again, those are the things that you should have been doing before as well, you need to double down on the coaching and the mentoring skill set as well.
Okay, thank you. What about in terms of, if I can probably come back to you again, what about in terms of, we talked about exhausted workforce, because you find yourself working maybe in not just one team, but multiple teams, and you are working virtually. How would you advise if you find yourself in such a scenario?
Well, you probably have two elements here. So one is a systematic approach, right? So ideally, you should prevent this kind of situations. You should be able to build your operating model, however often it changes, right? You build your teams around the right capacity and the right goal setting and building everything in the system way that it's helping people not to have to be exhausted of having too much work or not understanding what's happening, or having these mental challenges that come with a lot of change and a lot of transitions in the team. But if you already get there, it's about understanding what are the underlying issues, right? And then addressing those, talking and working with those people, and then making sure, probably that's the most important thing, right? That there's trust and understanding in the team and between the team members and the leaders as well, right? So they're able and open to talk about it rather than they go to the complete challenges in the long run, right? Then you catch those up, right? And then you help address those. And now that, again, maybe within the team or a larger organization, you may have support from the professionals, or you may have some specific tools or benefits for the mental support of the teams that you may be having there. Well, and that's on the mental side. And again, on the system side, it's about predicting how much work is there, getting the right support and workforce. And you as the leader, you should be a shield for your team. And I'll be honest, I'm raising the hand as well. I'm not always doing my job correctly, right? Being able to shield the team from all of the things that are happening and coming the way of the team, because more and more is expected of being delivered. So finding the right balance and being able to shield the team from too much work to be able to deliver as much as possible value rather than things, right? But value that's there, that's the important part of being a leader.
Thank you. If I could pose the same question to Kiron about teams and taking into account different geolocations, how would you cope? Because we are 7 hours ahead of you, and probably the time difference. If you are working on international projects, how do we manage? How are we supposed to manage if we find ourselves in such circumstances?
Absolutely. So this is, again, it's a very, very pertinent topic given the global nature of a lot of our projects. I always try to bring things back to psychological safety. That is something where, as leaders, there's going to be more and more and more demand for us to be demonstrating our ability to build psychological safety in our teams. Gone are the days when you could treat the team members as resources. Now these are folks that are talented. They know they are worth something on the open market. If you're not taking care of them and keeping them safe, they will go to your competitors' projects. And part of that then is making sure they're not getting burnt out. And so, as Shemek said, having a team that feels safe, where people can express that they are starting to feel burned out, they're starting to feel overwhelmed, is really important. Making it safe for people to be able to speak up. And that starts with us as leaders. We need to be able to demonstrate vulnerability ourselves. We want to model the behaviors we want our team members to follow. So if we're overwhelmed, we need to hold our hands up and say, hey, I need a sanity break now. We also want to make sure that when we're setting up our team, we're giving them the opportunity to come up with working agreements that are going to enable a sustainable pace of work. So things like, listen, I'm not going to send you emails after 5 p.m. on a work day. I don't expect you to send me emails after that time. That's just one example. That way we can help them start to work a more manageable timeline. And last but not least, I think it's so important that we as project managers leverage the influence that we have with our senior stakeholders to make sure that they're not putting our team members into jeopardy. And part of that is having them be overwhelmed. So a great opportunity is to push back and say, we're accepting too much work into our system. Let's try to focus on completing what we have, if it's the highest priority work, before we take on anything else. We need to start to cut our coat according to our cloth.
Thank you very much, and I certainly agree with you there. And that also comes if we are working on teams, that is synonymous with complex projects, isn't it? So I also want to find out from Clovis if he can unpick that for us and explain how do you manage in complex projects, and what are we supposed to get as our takeaway?
I understand we have some different ways to analyze a different project. One example, if you have a complex project, sometimes we need to have more data analysis. We need to have get more information. We need to, if you have possibility to science data, to try to define the right way to follow, because the information, that's okay, everybody have a lot of, but we need to have to use a different tools to provide how the way we need to deliverable this project, and you use sometimes a different methods or different methodology to achieve this result. And the complex project have a key, according to my understanding, have a very important, we have a near with stakeholders during the project. We have a near to financial people to analyze the data, because most of the time the stakeholders you inform you some different direction or some speedy direction, and you check the financial people if this direction have a clear and fast business result. I understand we need to use, in bottom line, you need to use the methodology, you need to use the stakeholders, you need to use the financial people to during the complex projects.
Thank you, Clovis, for tackling that issue for us. If I'm to expand the same question to Prabhu, if you could also add on, but this time looking at the risks that are associated with projects and how should we mitigate ourselves or meander through these challenges that we face on a daily basis, because complex projects normally the duration of complex projects is very, very long. It might take 5, 10, 15, or even more to complete, and during that period technology changes, so do people working on that particular project, and also the requirements of the users or the requirements of management might change or shift. If you could come in from that angle and assist.
Yeah, sure. So basically, I belong to automobile industries, okay, and there are product we launch for over a year, 2 years, 3 years, okay. So whatever project, complex project, whatever nature it is, that needs to be divided in the gate approach. Gate approach means throughout the whole life of the project, then you decide the gates. Sometimes funding gate, and after that the prototype gate, then the validation gate, and then the launch gate. So once you do it, every gate, the board of members comes together and somebody presents what are the conditions for a particular date, what are the financial condition, what are the timeline. If there are any changes going to take place in this project, something needs to change in this, and then you get the approval. So every point of time you are checking that your project is going in the right way. It's like a doctor, right? Every stages is through inspection throughout the project, so that you take care of all cost related things, delivery related things, quality related things, and your project is on track. So any given point of time, after certain interval, this is being checked, and this methodology is always helping people to launch the product on time. The cars sometimes at a very short cycle of 2 years, less than 2 years, and with the required quality, with the required cost, and at the time when customer is needed. So this type of approach, if it can be moved to all other sectors also, that is surely going to help in any complex project.
Okay, thank you very much for that. And then when we talk of a project management, practitioners globally would always want to find out, because you cannot run away from project management governance. If I could draw in the issue of governance, and if Kiron can, if Kiron could assist there with project management governance, how should we be doing it in 2023?
Absolutely. Governance is, again, one of those hot topics for me, because I've spent many years either in a governance role or in a role struggling against governance. At its most basic, we need to understand what governance is. Governance is how decisions get made. It's the rules, the people, the processes around how decisions get made. What we need to have is fit for purpose governance, lean governance. And one way to get there is to say that rather than focus on the how, governance bodies need to focus on the what. What control objective are we trying to achieve? So let me give you a simple example of that. Let's say that we wanted to ensure traceability from the high-level business objectives and benefits we have for a project down to the detailed requirements or the test cases that people are developing. Certainly, one way we can do that is with a traditional traceability matrix. From cradle to grave, have a traceability matrix. That's a document. But if we can demonstrate traceability using a work management tool, Trello, Jira, what have you, and be able to show linkages between things like business objects, down to individual epics, down to stories, down to test cases, and run a query on that, we're still satisfying the purpose of traceability. So if the focus of governance bodies is on making sure control objectives are met, but leave how those control objectives are met in the hands of teams, I think we'll see a lot less struggle against the perceived bureaucracy around governance.
Thank you. Excuse me. I would like Pismek to also rope in there and add if there's anything to add
I
on
think
the
not,
issue of governance.
not too much to add. So I agree that it needs to be fit for purpose, right? Whatever setup or operating model you set up in the organization, you want it to be to help people to achieve their goals, right? Now, one thing to keep in mind, maybe at the back of your head, and actually start with that is, of course, what you want to achieve and within what culture you work, or what kind of culture do you want to have in the organization, because that will or can influence the type of setups and government's requirements that you will be setting, right? Now, you may have external conditions that impact the access to information or some other elements that are being blocked through formal reasons. So you want to know what kind of values and culture you want to set across, and that will help you, guiding you in setting the right parameters for the governance. But other than that, you want it to be lean, and you want it to be supporting supporting the teams achieving goals. At the same time, remembering, right, that some aspects of the governance are purely for the governance, for your leadership or for your C-level team, right? So some expectations for the teams are there to be able to support them in making the right decisions. And that needs to be taken into account rather than only traveling through the myriad of meetings and decision points.
Okay, thank you. In terms of project deliverables, we know that at the end of the day, there are supposed to be some metrics that we can then use to evaluate the success or failure of any projects. So in this respect, I would like Prabhu to just give us an insight of metrics that we can always apply on these project deliverables, with be it agile, be it traditional, or whichever methodology that you'll be using, even hybrid.
Yeah, I remember one of the quote that what gets measured gets improved. Okay, if you can't measure anything, you will never be able to improve that. So measurement is critical, and whenever you plan a project, that the KPI and everything needs to be settled for that. And for any project, the key matrices are like profitability. What profitability in terms of cost and everything you are going to get. What the numbers of defect, so that we basically we say a PQ, this profitability, quality, okay, and the timing when the customer need it, whether you are able to deliver it. Okay, so whatever best product you are making, and this is going to take a time, and you are not able to deliver customer on their requirement date, then it becomes sometimes very not very beneficial for the customer. And at the same time, if you are not able to manage the cost throughout this, then also of not use. So basically 3 parameters, what I'd say: the cost, quality, and time. These are the 3 metrics must needs to be measured for any product to be in order to be successful and profitable.
Oliver,
okay.
if I can interrupt you for a moment, there are a few questions on the chat from the audience. If you could
Thank you.
pick them up, yeah. So you would have that on the. You want me to read them out, Oliver?
Yes, you can go ahead. Thank you very much for that.
Yeah. So there's a question where they say, will there be a role for DevOps project management in 2023?
If I could maybe tackle that one, I guess that the Q&A is open for any panelist. I would say there's been a role for what we hope to achieve with a DevOps transition over the last 20 years. So I don't think the need has gone away. I think people, organizations and leadership teams are starting to get better at understanding what DevOps is and what it isn't. So whereas maybe the initial wave was very much around, let's just put in some tools, I think there's a broader recognition that it's now about organization transformation, really taking a value stream approach to delivering value to our customers, breaking down silos wherever they exist, and leveraging automation in a responsible manner to make that happen. So I think project managers that have experience working on DevOps transitions or that have worked on products that are taking advantage of DevOps technologies, I think there will be a need for that, but I would say 2023 is no different in that regard than the preceding years we've looked at. That need has always been there, because just because you can build it doesn't mean your customers are going to get value from it. We have to be able to deliver it to them. We have to be able to monitor it. We have to be able to sustain it. We have to be able to support it. And that needs to be a seamless value stream.
If I can also include this one, it's from the chat. Can IA replace project management, and why?
Yeah, I can jump in. So short answer is no, in my opinion, at least not totally. It will support project management, and a lot of clerical or management tasks can be automated and they can be supported by AI. You can run a lot of predictive tasks and risk management with it. But what you will be missing is, at least in the foreseeable future, right, is the human factor, all the power skills that we mentioned here, right, that need to move forward, the teams, the stakeholder management in this right way of finding the balance, how to convey the messages in the right way to get things done, the negotiations parts, right? And of course, you can imagine having AI on one side and other side negotiating some things, and that may go very well, absolutely, as some part of the work in the projects. But the ultimate elements of the human factor, the resilience of the project manager, the power skills, the transition management of moving the people through the changes, as every project goes with some changes, those won't be taken over by AI, at least not in the foreseeable future.
That was a question from Manfred Nemachema. Moving on, there's another question again from the chat, an interesting question here. If I could read it out. Okay.
I can read those questions for you, Oliver. Don't worry.
Okay, thank you.
So there is someone who has expressed a concern about being overwhelmed by too many data sources. Can that be overwhelming for team members as well?
Yes.
To add to Shemek's response, which I agree with, by the way, I think, again, this comes down to working agreements that we set, that we have our team set at the beginning. So whatever people are doing on their own time outside of work, sure, they might be distracted, they might be overwhelmed with social media, business information, and so on. But while we're at work, we do have the ability to, again, act as leaders, model appropriate behaviors, help our team members be able to come up with a way of working that allows them to focus. So this is a topic which I would say affects all team members. It's certainly worthy of discussion as part of our initial forming with the team, and maybe come up with some team norms and some working agreements around how we will focus. An example of that could be if we're in a meeting, in a team meeting that's actually a working session, maybe what we want to do is close our laptop lids and set our phones to vibrate or turn our phones off. So that way we're not going to be multitasking. We're not going to be distracted that way. There are ways in which we can try to get our folks to focus. And again, as leaders, we need to model that behavior in our interactions with them.
Yeah, I'll double down on that. So I absolutely agree, and that goes goes back also to the governance models that we set, right? So if you have the right prioritization and the right focus on the specific things, it's much easier for the team members that understand that to cut off some of the elements that are not important here. And by the way, one of the very basic tools to Kieran as well is just having a parking space, right? So saying, hey, this is an interesting topic or this interesting thing, but that will not be covered here today or in this week or this month or whenever, right? Let's put it on the parking, and from time to time, let's have a governance set up to review the parking and see whether it's still relevant or not. And simple as that, it moves out from our heads.
Okay, from the chat, it's from Colin. He's saying many people being burnt out on projects at the moment, working on multiple projects, long hours and high expectations. I'm sure this issue was also tackled and talked more by Kiron. And then I'm moving on to Cindy. He's saying, I am a construction project manager. Recently, a member of a construction company got a stroke due to burning out, working on multiple projects, long hours, and high expectations. As a project manager, how do I influence the contractor to keep their staff from this? It's a very good question. And this one is directed to all panelists. If you could just come in and share your quick views on this one.
This is an interesting question because or an interesting issue, because to me, this really talks to something from the PMI Code of Ethics and Conduct, right? When we are engaging with stakeholders, when we're engaging with third parties, while we certainly should be treating the people that are working with us in an appropriate manner, the way we would want to be treated, it also extends to the contractors working on our project. And one way to protect that or to have that in place is to have it explicitly spelled out in the contract. Make sure there's some terms and conditions that cover things like working conditions. And that way, if there is evidence that the contractor is burning out their team members, we have the opportunity to kind of put a claim or to say that there's a violation of the contract. Having that there, I think, is important. It's also important to do due diligence in the procurement exercise itself. So if we will only work with contractors that have a track record of treating their people well, there aren't any of these nasty situations occurring, and we're not just going for the cheapest contractor, then we're not likely to find ourselves in that situation.
I certainly agree with you, Kiron. If I may just add, I'm sure there's also need for us to keep a risk register to just monitor all the type of risks that are affecting the project. And if this is captured in that risk register, I'm sure a resolution or a solution can be found, and that problem will actually be solved on the spot. Thank you very much for that contribution. Do you have any more further questions, Pyra?
No, Oliver, but it is time to wrap up now, so you may want to conclude the discussion.
Okay, thank you. If all the panelists can just sum up for this discussion for our viewers, so that our viewers have some takeaway from this valuable, insightful discussion that we've been having so far. Starting with Chiron.
Sure. So thanks, Oliver. Again, I'll go back to where I started. I think it's important that over the next year, everyone start to run some experiments with tools like ChatGPT. Could be as simple as, I want to send this message to a stakeholder. Could you rewrite it to make sure that it's not coming across as being too aggressive? So you're controlling the content. You're not exposing yourself to any fake news or anything else that might be dragged in, but maybe it can do a better job of softening what you were intending to say. And at the end of the day, it's your decision whether you send it or not. That's one. Second is double down, focus on psychological safety. That is going to be how we build high-performing teams now and into the future.
Shall we go around the table, Prabhu?
Yeah, so
Any
as
last
I
thoughts?
said, change is constant. Any other things can wait. Okay, so world is going to change, and the same way the AI and everything is going to come. Kiran rightly mentioned that you need to start using it. For small things, you use the chat GPT, ask questions, check it, and then send. So the technology needs to be embraced. This is anyway going to change. A few years, 10 years down the line, even a phone we are not using much right now. Just we can't live without a phone in our hand. Even some of the people who are sitting here maybe looking at the phone constantly. So the change is a part of life, and this is going to happen. But in order to do this, we need to be really emotionally intelligent and use those power skills what PMI itself recommend to use. So those power skills needs to be used and be abreast with the technological advancement, and just make it your ally. Okay, don't fight it. If you will fight with this, then you are not going to be anywhere. And sometimes people are asking questions that the job will get lost because of AI. No, the job will never get lost because of AI. Your job can be taken by a person who knows AI better than you. Okay, so you need to learn how to use AI and advance in project management. That is my take. Thank you.
Okay, Zemek, if I have pronounced your name rightly.
Yeah, very right. Thank you. I agree with all the predecessors, of course, right? I would say, yeah, we need to remember that there are two strong elements here, right? So the technology part and the people part. And on the technology, we need to be able to understand and leverage the technology and think about the value delivered through it, right? And test elements and move forward. On the people side of things, we mentioned psychological safety, right? You need to be curious about the things that are happening to move and inspire people around those things. And one of the things I wanted to underline is probably remembering about the transition management. So the people part of the change, right? The changes are not only systems and technology, but they're people-based, right? And moving people from one state to another through the transition is very important. So I would leave you with that and pass over to Clovis.
Clovis.
Thank you a lot for everybody this opportunity. I think sometimes you lost in everybody the main purpose. The main purpose it's when you use the drive a project or a revision process. It's the main purpose to generate a business result for the company. I think it's very important, the project management. It's very near to C-level. It's very near to CFO because sometimes we need to like a lot of methodology, like a lot of tools, but spend a lot of time to run this methodology, to run these tools, but it's not the direction of the company or the direction of the proposal of the project. And sometimes if you very near of the C-level of the CFO or of the leader of the organization, you achieve is very shortly and very strong results for your project. It's my opinion. I send again in the chat ebook in English language if everybody like to read. I'm very happy and thank you a lot of Priya and our team to invite me for this panel. I am very happy to have an opportunity to share the information for strong and professional and reference profession in the world about this business result, about the project management, how the way we need to achieve more results in next year in our project. Thank you a lot.
And
Thank
thank
you
you
very much.
kindly over to you.
Okay.
Sorry?
Okay, I was just thanking Clovis for the closing remarks, and
I was
thank you
asking
very
you
much,
to give your
panelists.
closing remarks. What do you think? Why don't you summarize the the discussion for us, Oliver?
Okay, it will be very difficult for me to summarize, but what I can basically say is the technology is out there, and we discuss about chat PGT, and Kiron actually emphasized the benefits of using it, and also we said that we cannot just quickly adopt it without considering certain things as to what exactly we want to achieve, as Clovis said earlier on. So it's very, very important when it comes to this technology that before we adopt it, we need to be very cautious and really know, as Prabhu suggested, that you start on using this technology on very small things, and then as you are happy, gaining confidence, and as you are happy with the outcomes, then you might try it on larger projects, so that you don't actually overuse it or abuse it, because there is always a danger. The danger is that whatever that you get, you're supposed to also verify, because remember, this is just information that has been piled up in different computers that are connected on the internet, that are just being extracted and summarizing and coming up with some documentation or some project or whatever essay that you might have indicated through your prompt. So as far as that is concerned, I will say that that's as far as I will say. And also different methodologies are actually available for us. Discipline Agile, we can actually embrace it. And also there's Lean Sigma, which is very important for process variations, especially for quality assurance and quality control, especially with our engineering project practitioners. They can actually get some good results from the usage of Lean Six Sigma methodology if they do employ it in their respective professions. And lastly, obviously, we talked about complex projects where we said these we basically need to really be careful with how we want to tackle them in terms of processes, in terms of outcomes, and also in terms of the costs that are going to be involved. And then the other issue that we also talked about was governance. We say that this is the way in which we are doing projects, and it has to be as transparent as far as the project process is concerned to all the stakeholders that are involved. I'm sure I've tried to summarize this discussion.
Yeah, thank you, Oliver. But we have another small segment before we wrap up, where Robert is going to do an outro. We call this an outro segment, the key takeaways from this discussion. And over to you, Robert, our chapter leader from PMI Zimbabwe chapter.
Thank you so much, Priya, and thank you very much, all the panelists and all the team members behind the scenes that organized this call and event. Season 4, event 1, happening at the beginning of 2023. And from all the discussions, quite insightful discussions that we got here. But what I would want to say as a wrap up of what is in and what could be out in 2023, let's look at Moscow, the capital city of Russia. Moscow is spelled So we need to put as organization and project managers, the M stands for we must have prioritize the must-have tools that which we are going to put in place. And obviously the O is a small one, mindful of the outputs that we are looking at. The S on the peripheral concentrically in terms of prioritization, we look at the should have, and then followed by the could have tools and methodologies that we could employ in 2023. And mindful of the outcomes. And lastly, also on the right, on the outskirts of the concentric cycle of the Moscow, what has become called the Moscow prioritization in terms of what could be in and what could be out in 2023. The W is maybe your wish list in terms of what you could incorporate in project management in 2023. So in terms of the contemporary issues that are in 2023, and the discussions are focused on artificial intelligence, IP, which were central, which are core in terms of being contemporary, but it's artificial intelligence driven by humans. So the artificial, those are tools that will supplement, complement the human operator, which is the project management, the project manager who is a human, and we need to be humane without being overwhelmed by all these tools and issues. So thank you very much. It was very insightful, and also thank you for all the attendees that joined us from across the globe. And thank you, Priya, for chairing this call. Thank you.
Thank you, Robert, and thanks for that, Moscow. And just before we wrap up, we wanted to share the participation that we had today from so many countries, and it's definitely overwhelming for us. And this is the results of the poll. Some people wanted to see this as well. Not that everyone took the poll, but we know that most of us think that we should adopt or the generative AI like the Chat GPT in our tool sets. And this is a PDO code that you have been waiting for. Don't worry, you will get a PDO mailer by Monday in your registered email ID so that you can claim your PDOs, 1.5 PDOs. And before we wrap up, there is scan this QR code to give us the feedback. And thank you for people who have worked behind the scenes to make this event a success, like Sunil, our WebEx admin, Damike, our chapter leader from Sri Lanka, for the flyers and the social media posts. Thanks, Priscilla, for stepping into Pedro's shoes and helping us with the event analysis. And again, the PDO mailer will be sent at the end of by Monday so that you can claim your PDOs. And with this, we wrap up Season 4, Event 1. And heartfelt thanks to all the attendees who have attended this session. We thank you for giving your time and attention today. But don't worry, we will be back again next month. And we will discuss certain silent trends next month, like quiet quitting, quiet hiring, and finally quiet thriving. I have a feeling it's going to be quite interesting. So watch out our social media handles for more. Till then, stay safe, stay healthy, and see you soon. Bye-bye.
Take care, everyone. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.